And welcome everybody to another Fintech Happy Hour by Swoop. Today I'm sipping with David Tan from Airwallex. How are you, David?
Hey Stephen, how are you doing?
And what are you sipping on today?
I've just got an iced coffee here. It's like midday, so it's a bit early to start drinking.
Very good. And you're down in Melbourne there, aren't you?
Yeah, we're in Melbourne. So the city with the longest lockdown in the world now, I think.
Yeah.
So hoping for that to end soon this year, hopefully.
Well, I'm sipping on a pretty boring glass of lukewarm water, so nothing much to report there. But as I say, thanks for joining us today, David. We're going to discuss 6 Aussie fintechs disrupting the banking sector in Australia and why. But before we get into that, I think we definitely should talk about the big announcement from Airwallex over the last week or so on your huge raise. Do you want to tell us and fill us in a bit about that?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. It's a really exciting news. I'd actually been on leave while the announcement happened, and sort of like saw my LinkedIn sort of like blowing up one day when I was away and saw the announcement. So what it was our Series E round. It was a US $200 million raise, which now pushed our valuation up to US $4 billion, which is amazing actually, especially for an Australian founded company to sort of be reaching those sort of goals. When I started at Airwallex about 2 years ago, Airwallex had just become a unicorn, I think the fastest unicorn in Australian history. And then it was like still like a huge deal, and in 2 years like quadruple that valuation to 4 billion is really, really cool. And I guess another nice thing as well that I sort of like noticed about our raises since I've been at Airwallex is that the actual investors are all like they're top tier investors, and they're all from around the world as well, which I think is really, really interesting. So this latest one, the Series E, was led by Lone Pine Capital, which is a really big VC out of Silicon Valley. But before that, we'd also had investment from Australia, obviously, with ANZ's investment arm and SquarePeg. Then also from Europe, from China, really from and more from America as well. So I think that's a kind of unique thing, not just raising that amount of money, but raising it from all around the world.
Oh, it's a testament, I suppose, to success, and the diversity there is incredible. It must be really interesting board meetings. But one thing, I suppose, of the topic that we're discussing today is, fintechs disrupting the traditional banking space. And the question I suppose I have for you: has Airwallex, has your growth, what has been fueling the growth, and has it been in relation to the topic?
What has been fueling our growth?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's just the demand from customers. So what Airwallex does in a really, really quick nutshell, we allow businesses that are operating globally to streamline their operations and save money. So we allow companies, particularly our biggest type of customer are digital companies that have some sort of cross-border need. So typically that's e-commerce, which is obviously booming right now. Also tech and software businesses as well, because they can be a business that's say based in Australia, but most of their customers are actually overseas. The product that they're selling is distributed digitally or distributed globally, and their suppliers are overseas as well. So they're doing a lot of cross-border transactions, and we allow them to save money, to connect things with their software as well, which often doesn't happen with a traditional financial company or a bank. And more, the economy of most countries are becoming more and more global and also digital first. So I think that we are kind of, our solution is in the right place at the right time, and I think that's where the growth is coming from.
And in terms of, you mentioned they're coming from banks, maybe from more traditional banking sectors. What are the reasons? What are they telling you? What are they saying to you about your product? Why they're using you instead of a traditional bank?
Yeah, well, I think something to note is that even though there are heaps of great fintechs out there, and particularly that cater to businesses as well, 95% of Australian businesses are still using traditional banks for basically everything, and a lot of that is just the legacy sort of effect that it's always been the banks that have been the place that you've gone as a business to do business and facilitate that. And so I think that a lot of what's happening with Airwallex is we're becoming more and more well known in particular markets. So you won't see us actually, probably you're not going to be seeing us really on billboards and on sponsoring football teams and things like that. But and so a lot of people just in the population actually wouldn't have heard of Airwallex unless they have a business that's doing something cross border. But more and more, the big banks are not able to, I think, service their customers in the digital and service first way that we can. So we have a lot of the stuff that we've built is very easy to scale, and so we're able to add a lot of new customers on without reducing the service for the existing customers. And in fact, that's something that we heavily rely on and sort of put a lot of focus on, is our customer service and our ability to have an account manager for an account. For if you get an Airwallex account, you have an account manager that you can speak to in your own time zone. You have their direct contact details. They can jump on a Zoom with you and show you how to do certain things on the platform, or chase down a sort of query for you as well.
Yeah.
Which doesn't, I've heard a lot of stuff from business customers at a previous big bank that I was working for, and the service is quite something that they know is lacking there.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Airwallex are filling some vacuum there from what you described. There's plenty of other fintechs that are trying to eat into that 95% market share, and we're seeing that really accelerate, I suppose, in 2021, when at the first half of this year we've seen a record $890 million invested in Australian fintechs. Wow, like Airwallex, and many other examples that we've seen some huge successes. And which I suppose is the topic that we're going to discuss here is who are some of the players that are going to use that investment and continue to eat into that 95% market share. So is there anyone that you're hearing or you're seeing in the market in Australia who can disrupt that banking sector even further?
Yeah, so in terms of like fintechs, I guess in Australia, obviously there's Judo Bank, which is a big SME sort of lender, and I think that they're focusing quite a bit on customer service as well.
Yeah, definitely.
There's Archer as well, which is like a card, like a digital corporate card product. Then you also have these other fintechs that are not from Australia, but really making a lot of progress in Australia. One, for instance, is Klarna. So they're the biggest fintech in Europe, I think, at like $11 billion valuation. And they've come to Australia about a year ago or something, and have been picking up customers left and right.
Afterpay. Hopefully, there's no one listening from Afterpay on this call.
Well, Klarna and Afterpay are both awesome partners of ours, but obviously Afterpay have a huge home ground advantage being an Australian business. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see a lot of other like world class, huge fintechs and digital companies coming into Australia. Another one is Clearco. So they were formerly ClearBank. They're a Canadian unicorn as well, big fintech that allows startup digital businesses to get funding based on their performance. They're launching, I think, in Australia next month in October 21, and all of those companies I mentioned are great partners of Airwallex as well.
Yeah, we're lucky enough to call a lot of those guys you name checked there as partners, and we're working really closely with the guys at Clearco and helping them launch as well, and have a fantastic relationship with Judo Bank. And I think that what you mentioned there in regards to customer experience, seeing that firsthand, even how they deal with partners like Swoop or like Airwallex, has been fantastic, and see why it's fueled their growth.
Yeah,
I suppose there's one I think I would really like to mention. There's a couple I would like to mention alongside some of those fantastic companies that people should watch out for, in my opinion. One of which is Thrive, Melbourne-based fintech as well. And what they're trying to do is very cool, in my opinion. They are providing business current accounts to businesses, but they're all within the one platform. They're also trying to provide software, accounting software. So instead of segmenting the likes of the traditionals, the MyObs, the Zeros, and your business bank account, they're trying to pull both of those into one umbrella, centralize it, and allow a business to be able to operate financially in a very efficient fashion. And I know they had a record-breaking crowd raise this year. I was really successful with one of the crowd-raising fund platforms down in Melbourne there as well. So one that I think, if I've seen the product myself, I'm lucky enough to get a demonstration from Michael and the guys, and it looks really good. So I'm looking to see how they fared as they launch this year.
Cool.
And another one I think I'll just mention is Zeller. Seen a lot of Zeller. They have a lot of advertisements on the trams in Sydney for sure. But an FPOS provider. I don't know if you've used what your experience like with FPOS, David. But in the cafes, you pay for your coffee, you pay by FPOS.
Yeah.
I know some providers they break, they're temperamental, or not maybe a bit clunky. Zeller I've used a few times, and I think it's really good system. And I know they're definitely targeting people who are using FPOS from traditional banks and they had a bad customer experience, similar to what you mentioned at Judo Bank. And I seen an article the other day where their CEO actually said that 80% of the new businesses that's coming through to them are from incumbents. So they're taking their business by offering that better customer service and a better technology platform for small business.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've heard of Zeller before, but I wasn't too familiar with them. But I think something that is sort of seems to come up more and more is that a big advantage of fintech, or a big selling point, I guess, is the customer service, because the tech, like the actual product and how it's delivered to the customer, a lot of the time it's basically already built. As long as you build it, then there's not really that much extra work to go and deliver it. But so then they can put the money and the time and the manpower basically into making sure that people using it, your customers, are having the best experience, and if they get stuck, that they're quickly helped, so that they don't just churn and abandon the platform.
Yeah, I completely agree. We live in a fintech digital age of cool technology, open banking, etc. But at the end of the day, if you're not providing good customer service or building that relationship with a partner or customer, it's not worth the damn.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's maybe we've covered a lot of bases there. Do you have any final words for sippers joining us today?
Any final words? If you're a business, sign up to Airwallex. We've got. I'll show you my card here. We've got Airwallex cards, which this is a physical one, but you can also do like virtual ones that you can get on your phone, and you can use them as like corporate cards for your business. If you're a e-commerce or a digital sort of business, then 99% of the time an Airwallex account will be something that will be useful to you and will be able to save you money. We'd love to have any of you listeners on board.
Great. Well, cheers, David. I'll cheers you, and we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us.
Cheers, Steve. See you later.